History has many stories filled with hope and inspiration. The Mendez family is one of them. The beginning of this story begins in February 1942. The attack on Pearl Harbor caused distrust of the Japanese. President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed an order forcing all American Japanese living in the West Coast to be sent to temporary internment camps. The Munimitsu families found themselves in a camp in Arizona. It was here that they met the Mendez family. With a heavy heart, Mr. Gonzalo Mendez leased their thriving asparagus farm of 4 acres. This was the beginning of the businessman's story. The Mendez and Munimitsu families became far more than simple business associates during a tough time. As their business grew, their families prospered and families wanted more for their children. They wanted a better future for them. This better future required a better education. In the 1930s and 1940s, in Westminster and other Orange County cities where the Mendez family resided, Mexican Americans and Mexican-born students attended their own schools with small budgets, small supplies, and poor facilities. Sylvia and her brothers attended Hoover Elementary, which was next to a dairy farm. The dairy farm had an electrical fencing around the facility. Sylvia Mendez recalls an incident where they were playing outside. Another child got caught in the fence and would not stop shaking. The dairyman had to turn on the fence in order for the little girl to be set free. This was proof the environment of the school was extremely dangerous. Not only was it a dangerous environment, the school was not preparing the children for a future in academics, but rather preparing them for manual labor and service work. By 1943, the Mendez family was doing well for themselves. They had 30 workers during a peak growing season. They decided to enroll their children in the 17th Street School. This school had better facilities and the focus was on academics. Sylvia Mendez's aunt, Soledad, took the Mendez children along with her children to enroll them in the school. The school administration did not require documentation for their enrollment, but rather looked at the children to be decided. Soledad's children was light-skinned, light brown eyes, light hair, and English names. The Mendez families were dark-skinned, dark hair, and dark brown colored eyes. The school administrator responded, Soledad could enroll her children. They would fit in. However, the Mendez children would have to enroll at Hoover Elementary. Soledad became angry and took the children home. Mr. Mendez, in an attempt to change their minds, attended the school, speaking to every school official he could, but the conclusion remained the same: no admittance of his children. This did not set well with him. As a successful farmer and landowner, he was still being refused small luxuries offered to other Americans. Mr. Gonzalez began speaking to the members of the community. This is where his fight began. A Jewish litigator from L.A. was known for his fight for Latino rights. The Mendez family met up with David Marcus and the fight began. Teaming up with the members of the community, word of the case spread. The school told Mr. Mendez his children could enroll. A selfless man he was. He could not leave everyone else in the community out of what was happening. Their children mattered also. The fight continued. On March 2, 1945, with their attorney and additional 3 families, they filed a class action lawsuit in Los Angeles County Superior Court. They were claiming to be denied equal protection of the laws by being denied a chance to enroll their children in the schools. The defendants claimed poor hygiene and poor English language was the reasoning behind the decision, but this educational rationale for segregation was undermined by the testimony of 9-year-old Sylvia, 8-year-old Gonzalo, and 7-year-old Germón Mendez. All spoke fluent English, as did many of other children who attended the Hoover School. Marcus presented evidence of what was taught and supplies utilized to argue how it made the children feel. They were not valued and how it could affect their futures. On February 18, 1946, a judge sided with Marcus, Mendez, and the additional families, stating segregation of these students in Orange County schools was unconstitutional because it violated the 14th Amendment. Within 5 days of the ruling, the districts appealed the case. The case was sent to the United States Courts of Appeals for Ninth Circuit based in San Francisco. On April 14, 1947, the court agreed the previous judge's ruling and cemented the Mendez v. Westminster as a historic case. Her father passed away at the age of 51 when Sylvia began to care for her mother. It was then they would start to reminisce about the past. As her mother was on her deathbed, she voiced concern over their story not being known. Brown v. Board of Education came after this trial, and that case is what is remembered